Peace everyone, I'm Seward here and welcome back to the Drawing Journal. So in my last video, somebody commented and asked if I'd do a video on how to color anime skin, and I do have two tutorials on coloring anime, two different styles. I have the colors that I used in those videos listed in those videos. And I also have a tutorial that I did a couple months ago called How to Color Everything. And those are still the same processes and practices that I use in everything that you see me color on my channel. So you can watch those and learn my techniques, but I thought I'd address specifically this topic because I have a picture here to color anyway. As you can see, this is a thing that I drew. I mentioned it before. I did this just recently. I finished it, but I've been drawing it what feels like since the beginning of the year. But I have the line art for this free to download. You can print it out, you can color it and everything like that. So I thought I might as well start to color it. I wanted to color it anyway. And so I'll do a little demonstration on how I do the skin tones, and maybe I'll just make this kind of like a tutorial over the series of the next drawing journals or something like that, and I'll just color it, whatever. But so the thing that I always stress when it comes to coloring is planning. I can't say it enough. You have to plan. You have to plan everything that you do. Well, okay, let me backtrack just a little bit. Maybe you don't have to plan everything because some people can just do it, pick up whatever and do it. I don't like that approach because I feel like it wastes way too much time. I mean, I can just go get my colored pencils and pick whatever colors I want and throw them on the page and hope for the best. But I don't like to do that because I spend hours painstakingly inking this drawing. The last thing I want to do is mess it up with the wrong color. So I take the time to plan my stuff, and I recommend you doing that with all of your work, whether you're working with color or not. Planning is something that I will never stop doing. So anyway, here are 5 colors that I would probably use in my skin tones when coloring anime. And up here, these are the 2 colors that I'm going to use. I'm going to use 2 colors for the skin tone, nothing more. Most likely nothing more. These are my Luminance pencils that I recently transferred over to from Prismacolor. They are definitely more expensive. However, you get better results, period. They lay down better, they're smoother, they're softer, and they don't break when you sharpen them. Here's 3 colors that I would use in the past for my Prismacolors. They're a little bit grainier, they don't go on as smooth, but they're still great pencils. I used them for a few years and not a single complaint from me. Really, other than that they tend to break when you sharpen them. But so here are the colors. I will try to get that on screen so that you can read them, pause it if you need to. But here are the colors. You can buy these pencils individually offline. They ship around the world, so there's no excuse not to be able to get these colors. Even I can get these colors in Poland, and as I've learned recently, it is incredibly hard to get art supplies shipped here from America. So I'm gonna have to find a way around that. I'm actually going back to the States soon, so I'm going to stock up on a lot of art supplies while I'm there, and then bring them back on the plane with me. But anyway, so these are the colors that you can use. The Prismacolor, this cream color here by Prismacolor, is the closest one I got to Luminance. It's a bit too yellow. However, you can tone that down by layering with white over top of it. And then these two colors, they're really similar. This one's a little bit pinker, and I actually kind of like this one more. But I'm using my Luminance. So let's just get into this. Oh, and one thing I gotta say, if you don't do this with your medians, if you don't, do color swatches, you can see this one here behind me. This is my Luminance pencil one behind me. I have marker one over there. I will admit I never did this with my Prismacolors, but I did always do it per piece. So I would always have like a scrap piece of paper and I do one before I colored anything. So what's the first color that I'm working with? Yeah, this first pencil that I'm working with is 801. It is called Buff Titanium by Luminance. Basically, the first thing I'm going to do is sharpen it. I'm literally just going to take this color and put it everywhere where I see skin. I'm just going to start down here because it's closer to me. But yeah, I'm not doing anything, no fancy techniques. I'm just doing little circles. I'm not putting a ton of pressure down. I'm just getting the color down. These pencils are amazing. They are the best colored pencils in my opinion, and I would fight anybody to say otherwise. Because the colors are vibrant, they're smooth, they lay down just wonderfully. And like I said, you can buy these pencils individually. So if you want this color right here, you can go to whatever website and buy just this pencil. It might be like $5 or something like that. But yeah, so if you like the way this looks, then you can go buy this color, and you can go buy the other color that I'm going to use. One other thing about coloring anime skin is it's actually a lot paler than if you were to do like a human portrait. Most of the color is really just in the shadows, and I'm not going to teach you how to shade things in this because you shouldn't learn how to shade things in color. You should learn how to shade things monochromatically in graphite or something like that, black and white, before you start playing with color. In my opinion, color is a huge monster, a huge undertaking, and if you can't just shade in black and white with your sketches or something like that before laying down color, then there's no reason for you to skip that and go straight to color. So yes, so here I did my first layer, and so this video isn't like 40 minutes long of me coloring with this one thing just to color all the skin. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my other color. This color here is 872 by Luminance. The name is Burnt Ochre 10%. Okay. I'm going to sharpen this too. And for this picture, I made my light source kind of it's above her and it's coming down. So realistically, her legs would completely be shaded. So it really made no sense to put that layer down because I'm going to cover her entire legs again with this color. But it's good to work in layers. You get better coverage and consistency, and mixing these two colors together would look really good. So if you're working with Prismacolors, I really recommend getting a couple blending colorless blenders that Prismacolor makes. They're not the best colorless blenders that you can get for colored pencils. Honestly, I think Luminance colorless blender is magnificent. Oh gosh, I love them. The only downside is that you can go through them really, really quickly. I think I've already went through 2 or something like that, and I'm going to order like 10 when I'm back in the States because they're just so awesome. I have one right here. This is one that's wearing down, but it's just fantastic. And then I have the this is the Prismacolor colorless blender, and the funny thing is, like, for Luminance, this is solid. It's really consistent, easy to sharpen, whereas this one is much softer, but it's still firm. It's still easy to sharpen. But for Prismacolor, it's kind of the opposite. Like, the Prismacolor colors are way too soft, and they crumble and they break. Like, you can see the texture on that. It's awful. But these are really solid. So I don't know what they're doing with these, but they're doing better with the colorless blenders. But they're actually almost too hard, and they kind of scratch the paper, especially if you're working with a denser, softer paper. So if you're going to get a colorless blender, get the Luminance one. The pencils are both wax-based, so it's going to work the same. It's going to work just as good, but you can't beat the Luminance colorless blender. I'm sorry. The Prismacolor ones just aren't as good. And yeah, so that's the other thing about doing the skin. You want it to be smooth. You don't want to see pencil lines or anything like that. You want it to look like it was colored in Photoshop, and just a strong consistency. And the way to do that is get your layers down and smooth it out. You can either smooth it out with the color you're working with, or you can tone down the saturation a little bit by using white, or you can just smooth it out with the colorless blender, which is what I recommend. There are techniques to smoothing out the colors with paint thinner. However, if you're doing skin, I strongly recommend you never use paint thinner or solvents to smooth out the colors if you're working on skin. And the reason for that is because the solvents, no matter how gentle they are or how vibrant your colored pencils are, you get a washed out look, and it looks dirty. It's easy to get muddy looking colors, and it just looks faded and awful. There's very few things that I would even use solvents for, but if it's a person, if it's a portrait or something like that, never ever use it on the skin, because it just looks disgusting. And that's the quickest way to ruin a portrait or a skin tone, is to start using solvents. And I'm sure there's people that will disagree with me on that, that use solvents for virtually everything, and even on skin and stuff like that, but yeah, I think it looks terrible. So this is actually my shaded color here. I think I might, let me just skip ahead a little bit so you're not watching me do all this boring stuff, and I'll jump up and I'll do this arm right here. Alright, now I have the base color, which I still used that 801 Buff Titanium by Luminance. Just a couple layers to make sure I got good coverage. That's all I did. Didn't do anything else. There's no magic happening here, I can assure you. I'm now just taking that same other color, the Burnt Ochre 10%, 872, also by Luminance. And the first thing that I'm going to do is sharpen it. the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw where I want my shadows. So like I said, my lighting is from the top down, so the cast shadows are going to be down. So she has this, I don't even know what you call it, but her clothes. So I'm going to draw a little shadow under there, like that. Now this part here is going to be mostly shaded as well, because it's under her arm. And I'll just kind of sketch a line where I want the shadow here to go. Nothing fancy. Then her arm, this is the top part, so her shadow is going to come down on this part of her arm, and it's going to be not too extreme. And then of course the fingers, and I'm just going to kind of choose a knuckle. I'm going to shade that part there, and this part, and in between her finger right there, and this finger, and I'll choose that knuckle there. And I'll come up in between, and on the side of her hand here, just like that. Nothing too extreme. It's very subtle shadow. And then I'm just going to color it in like this. And I'll color in this part here. And that will be it for this arm. All I did was use 2 colors. If you watch the how to color anime tutorials that I did last year, then you'll know that this is the classic style, where it's just kind of not the blended shaded style that I did in part 2, but this would be part 1. So yeah, I like this style kind of more, in my opinion. I don't know, it just looks, I just like the way it looks, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't know how that looks to you. To me, it looks great. Sometimes when you're coloring, things look kind of weird when the rest of the page is white, because the color is kind of out of context to the lighting of the rest of the thing. So this is why I plan my colors ahead of time, and I ignore the things that look weird to me. If this looked weird to me, then I might start messing with it and changing the colors, and then I get it to look like, oh, okay, that's how I want it to look, and then I color the rest of the stuff, and it looks weird because we're playing with the colors when I shouldn't have been. These colors are great. If you disagree, you're free to disagree, but you're wrong. Just these 2 colors. I used 2 colors. It's very easy. And there's no reason you can't do this exact thing. Yeah, so you know the 2 colors that I used, and there's no special technique. There's nothing. So I'm going to color the rest of the skin here and let you have a look at it. Alright everyone, there you have it. 2 colors, no magic, super easy, and I personally love this skin tone so much. This is actually the first time I've ever used these 2 colors to do such a thing. So I hope that you like it. Hopefully this video was a little bit informative and you can use it. Like I mentioned, I have this line art right here, free to download in the description. You can download it, super high quality, print it out and color it. You can try this for yourself and see that there is indeed no magic involved. And yeah, I would love to see how you color this character. If you do end up coloring this character, be sure to share it on social media and tag me in it. All of my social media is also in the description, because I'd love to share it on my channel if you do complete coloring this. Like I said, I'll finish coloring this through a series of videos, so I would really like it if you leave a comment on what color I should color what. You know, what color should I do her hair? I'm going to do her hair next, okay? So tell me, what color should I make her hair? All right? And I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.